Hello, everyone. Welcome. Galigia Coesque, Dancing Heron, Dances with Death. Call me Gail. I'm in my Selagi ancestral homeland in Wayumi, Ganaita, the French Broad River Basin, in Takiosti, so-called Asheville, North Carolina, living on the oldest mountain on Turtle Island, our sacred mountain called Adagul, which means helping many people. We are the people who resisted both the removal on the Trail of Tears and the reservation called Cherokee by hiding in these mountains. And the reason we were able to do that was primarily because of the plant medicine. The federal troops came in and killed all the animals, hoping to starve us out. But the plant medicine kept us alive and continues to help us in so many ways. And so I'm burning the sage now to clear our field around us. And to the sage, I add our ancestral version of sage, also called everlasting and fondly called rabbit tobacco, which is one that we sniff because it's so wonderful. And I would also like to share the cedar tree medicine that calls in our ancestors. And listen, if you will, for the little pop. If I can find the cedar in my medicine bag here. Actually, in my turtle shell, I'm hoping. Yeah, okay. So the chaga ember is from the trees that first brought fire to the people. And the cedar leaf invites our ancestors to join us today. And I offered them the heart medicine from the hawthorn tree up on the mountain, the little hawthorn leaf that I gathered last spring, and it's almost time to go gather again. And this is when that's medicine that we sniff a little bit, okay? And then we offered them the lobelia, which is our native ancestral. For them, the lobelia. Okay, I don't know why I'm getting an echo there. Do you know, Pam, what's echoing?
Yeah, sorry, I was doing something on my other computer.
Okay, so we're good with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we offer the lobelia and ask it to interpret between us and the other plants and the animals and the trees that we'll soak with today. We're grateful to all these plant medicines and to all of you for being here with us today. And so we bring in the sweetgrass to remind us of the sweetness that we always share with each other and with our ancestors. Okay. Today I want to share my experience of our Cherokee prophecies, because they're so relevant to the times that we're in right now. The prophecy talks about each of us as a particular race and color of the directions that we scattered into, holding teachings and sharing these teachings in times like these, in the seventh generation and in times of need, so that we can help humanity continue. As long as we share these teachings, humanity, this wave of humans that we are in, will continue. And if we abuse the teachings and don't share the teachings, then it will be the end of this wave of humans, like it has been so many before us, the ancient ones, and so many before us. So as the red race, we hold the plant teachings, the medicine teachings, and they're actually held by the Hopi people. And these are the teachings of the earth. And the medicine teachings are being abused by the pharmaceutical industry at this time. So we all want to contribute to bringing that back into balance in any way that comes to us that we can. And the Black race, here on, this Martin Luther King and Black History Month, we want to acknowledge the medicine teachings that the Black race holds in the base of the mountain in Kenya. It's the teachings of power through humility, and it's actually the teachings of the water. And we can see the example of this in Nelson Mandela. He was a beautiful example of power through humility. And several other, people have come to the forefront to share this with us. And also, there may have been some abuse in the hierarchy that allowed the Black people to be sold into the slave trade. I don't really know of a lot of abuse of the Black race, but I encourage you to think about that and help bring us all back into balance in any way that comes to you. The yellow race is the Tibetan people, and it holds the spiritual teachings of the wind. And we can see that very clearly in the Dalai Lama and all the teachings that he shares. He's a beautiful example. And of course, there's a little bit of abuse in the spiritual teachings in China's invasion of Tibet. And you may see other areas where there's a little bit of abuse in the spiritual teachings, hierarchy again, and things like that. And then the white race holds their teachings in Zurich, just outside of Switzerland. And these are the teachings of the minerals. And there is, of course, this is the teaching of fire. So there is abuse in the atomic weapons. There's abuse in the fossil fuels that are so prevalent in our culture right now. And I want to share my experience of these particular white teachings. In 1994, I was in Zurich cooking for a retreat by a Swami from Sri Lanka. And the owner of the retreat came to meet me for the first time, and he didn't even say hello. He just said, "You are Salagi." And I was very surprised because I've never experienced being recognized like that in Europe before. And so I just nodded, "Yes, I'm Salagi." And the next thing he said was, "And you know the songs?" And I nodded again. At that time, I did know the songs, and I do know the songs in our medicine ways. And he turned to his wife and he said something in Swiss German that I couldn't understand a word of. But he turned back to me and he said, "My wife will come for you in the morning." and she'll take you to the caves where the white race teachings are held so you can sing the songs. And I was really surprised at this point. So all I could do was just nod. And he reached over on the bookshelf and he handed me a book that was all about our prophecy, this one that I just shared with you. And his wife came in the morning, and we all four got into the car and we drove a couple hours out of Zurich, and we drove out into the countryside towards the base of the Alps. We drove through a small town, and then it looked like we just went to the edge of the town, and it was something like a vacant lot or a very natural area, just nothing in particular. But she parked the car and we got out and we walked into this area of the countryside that looked like a vacant lot. And suddenly there was this big opening to a cave. And so it was a beautiful cave. It was just very natural, nothing around it, nothing special about it, just a big open area under an opening in the rocks. And so I offered the plant medicine like I just did, and I started singing the songs. And the Swami got spooked. And so he left. And the woman that drove us there, I don't know if she got spooked or if she just went to make sure she took care of the Swami, but the two of them left, and it was just me and the sister that she had brought to be with me there in the cave singing the songs. And I noticed at one point she was down on her knees and she was sobbing, and I had no idea. She didn't speak English and I didn't speak Swiss German, so we couldn't really communicate. But when I finished singing the songs and I turned to see if she was okay, she just said, "I see angels." So that was really all I knew at that time. But I want to share with you more of our teachings of the plant medicine, and this is why we're working with the trees today. Trees hold our plant medicine as well as the plants, and they are wonderful helpers when we learn to listen to them and to work with them. So I want to start with a quote from one of our anthropologists who shared the initial teachings from the Selkie people, from our medicine men, swimmer primarily. And I'm quoting, this was, after the animals tried to balance man, because the men people had become greedy and were abusing the plant medicine. And so the animals tried to bring them back in balance with the diseases. The diseases come from the animals, and the plants were helpers. So I'm quoting from James Mooney's book, "When the plants, who were friendly to man, heard what had been done by the animals, they determined to defeat their evil designs. Each tree, shrub, and herb, down even to the grasses and mosses, agreed to furnish a remedy for some one of the diseases named, and each said," quoting, "I shall appear to help man when he calls upon me in his need." So that's what we're learning today, how to call upon the plants in our need. "Thus did medicine originate, and the plants, every one of which has its use, if we only knew it, furnish the antidote to counteract the evil wrought by the revengeful animals. When the doctor is in doubt what treatment to apply for the relief of a patient, the spirit of the plant suggests to him the proper remedy. This is why we learn to connect with the spirit of the trees and the spirit of all of the plants, so that they can help us in these medicine ways." And now I want to share a quote by Black Elk. In the late 1800s, Oglala Lakota holy man Hehakasapa, Black Elk, had a vision at the age of 9 when he became ill and had a near-death experience. When he awoke and shared his vision, he felt the dream was a prophecy of a great suffering that would soon set upon native people, and it wouldn't be until 7 generations later that a sacred duty would be laid upon the people to take a stand for their relatives and the earth again. In his vision, he saw a great tree that symbolized all life on earth. He foresaw war, famine, and sickness among his people, and their sacred circle would be broken. After 7 generations of this darkness, there would be a reuniting, not only for his people, the Lakota, but for all people on earth. The 7th generation will take back what little culture and rights remain and amplify positive change for future generations that don't yet exist. Today, many elders and native leaders see a clear rise of the 7th generation in their people. And now, as you let that sink in, I want to share a quote from Hermann Hesse. For me, wrote the German poet, novelist Hermann Hesse, quoting, "Trees have always been the most penetrating preachers. I revere them when they live in tribes and families in forests and groves, and even more, I revere them when they stand alone. In their highest boughs, the world rustles. The roots rest in infinity, but they do not lose themselves there. They struggle with all the force of their lives for one thing only, to fulfill themselves according to their own laws, to build up their own form, to represent themselves. Nothing is holier, nothing is more exemplary than a beautiful, strong tree. When a tree is cut down and reveals its naked death wound to the sun, one can read its whole history in the luminous, inscribed disk of its trunk, in the rings of its years. Its scars, all the struggle, all the suffering, all the sickness, all the happiness and prosperity stand truly written. The narrow years and the luxurious years, the attacks withstood, the storms endured, and every young farm boy knows that the hardest and noblest wood has the narrowest rings." Pamela, there's somebody we need to admit, I think. Thank you. That high on the mountains and in continuing danger, the most indestructible and strongest, the ideal trees grow. A longing to wander tears my heart when I hear trees rustling in the wind. At evening, Hermann Hesse continues, if one listens to them silently for a long time, this longing reveals its kernel, its meaning. Hesse says, it is not so much a matter of escaping from one's suffering, though it may seem to be so. It is a longing for home, for a memory of the mother, for new metaphors of life. It leads home. Every path leads homeward. Every step is birth. Every step is death. Every grave is mother. So the tree rustles in the evening when we stand uneasy before our own childish thoughts. Trees have long thoughts, long breathing and restful, just as they have longer lives than ours. They are wiser than we are, as long as we do not listen to them. But when we have learned how to listen to trees, then the brevity and the quickness and the childlike hastiness of our thoughts achieve an incomparable joy. Whoever has learned how to listen to trees no longer wants to be a tree. He wants to be nothing except what he is. That is home. That is happiness. One more quote taken from the 2005 award-winning film Queen of Trees, depicts the mythology surrounding the sycamore fig tree, a native tree to Central Africa. Kenyan folklore and the traditional narratives of the Kikuyu people, the largest ethnic group in Kenya, and these are the people who hold the teachings in our prophecies, have long revered and worshipped the fig tree as sacred. Quote, in Africa, there lives an extraordinary tree. She is queen of the riverbank, a monarch whose story stretches back millions of years. In tribal cultures, her mysterious ways have fueled myth and legend. They set her apart from other trees. She is a sycamore fig, queen of Africa's trees. And Crazy Horse said, I see a time of 7 generations when all the colors of mankind will gather under the sacred tree of life, and the whole earth will become one circle again. And that's us. That's what we're doing today. We're gathering and becoming one circle and learning to listen to the trees and learning to dance with the trees and with all the plants of the earth. And so I'm going to sing the first song that I sang in the cave outside of Zurich. And I'm going to sing it with my Tupelo tree drum. You can see the tree, the ring of this tree that holds the bear's honey and also makes our drums. And I invite you to sing along if you want to. It's just a weaving. Our songs are not all together now. They're more of a weaving and wandering and harmonizing and just being together. So sing with your unmuted or with your mic muted, any way that you're comfortable. But this is also a song that makes us one mind. Some call it mind clearing song. Some call it mindfulness. But we're going to begin our dance this way. So, if we're ready to dance, and Pamela will start the music for us, making sure that it's at the beginning. Sometimes it doesn't remain set on YouTube at the beginning. And I encourage everyone to dance or watch. We're going to use some ritual aids. When we are in ritual, we return to original experiences of humanness. Ritual is a full-bodied experience moving into a heightened state that changes consciousness. The embodied symbolic integrates just below levels of body and mind. Our soul's capacity to reach the collective world's soul lies there. Symbol expresses what cannot be said. So Molly and I are going to dance together, and we encourage everyone watching the video to dance with us also. And we're going to use the movements first of the roots of the trees, spreading our palms and keeping our feet planted firmly while we reach down to the center of the earth and center ourselves in connection with the center of the earth. And then we're going to go into the bud, the seed symbol with our hands. You can see that we can look inside the seed and see the potential. We can look beyond our thumbs, which are tucked in. And then the next movement that we'll do with our hands is the opening of the seeds. As you see our hands go into the symbol of the flowers, first together, and then we're going to open them and furl and twirl with the flowers, with the petals of the flowers. And then we'll have the leaves of the tree as they shimmer in the wind. And when the rains are coming, the trees will tell you their leaves turn upside down and shimmer. So we're going to dance with our hands together like this in ritual ceremony. And then we return to the holding of ourselves, the holding of our heart and our belly, and we return to the roots where we began. And this is symbolic of transformation. As the leaves fall and the tree falls, it returns to the earth, and the whole tree is contained in every leaf. So we can feel that, and we can feel the connection with the trees as we dance in this ritual ceremony. So whenever you are ready, Pamela. As the trees dance us, we feel roots reaching for the center of earth, and we move holding feet firmly in place, just drinking in the darkness. We are all woven fibers, yielding to forces unknown, going with flowing water and winds, nurturing strength and resilience. For 1 minute now, our open hands are reaching into the earth like the mycelium. Grieving with the spirit of the trees for the unforgivable actions of human dominion. Wailing with the winds of sorrow for unjust actions of humanity. Cleansing regrets and culturing compassion with respect and accountability. For 1 minute, our fists hold this tension and pain as we are grounded in the center of our Mother Earth. Holding our palms together in the image of seeds, for 2 minutes we are birthing leaves to comfort shared sorrows as we are danced into buds, tightly holding ourselves and each other before spreading magic whispers of wings to the world, energies arising for openings unknown. minutes, seed palms come apart with wrists turning for flowers, feeding beauty with balance. Unfurling in wondrous ways, swirling and twirling while centered and securely attached to branches reaching for the sun, colors coming to soothe our spirit. For 2 minutes, our hands shimmy with excitement, like leaves dancing and singing through oxygenated air and energy shared with all life. Some remaining as evergreens and some dancing into the reds and golds we love. Canopies with each leaf containing all of the whole tree. Falling into their last dance and cycling back into the earth to feed roots. Wisdom of many such cycles embodied in the ancient trees, sharing warmth and whispers of wise ways, fueling fires of heartfelt life force and sheltering dreams of unity as we connect through their roots and listen closely to their voice. In this final 2 minutes, our hands hold ourselves and then our heart and belly as we learn to listen to trees and earth. Thank you, Molly. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you all joined us here. We're so grateful to be able to feel the trees and feel the nature around us and share, learning to listen to the plants, to the trees, to the plant medicine. And so at this time, I want to invite Molly, if she's caught her breath, or Gabri, if she's not, whichever one of them wants to step forward and share their experience of the synergy of coming together in ways like this, because we all actually met on Zoom. And we were doing the first transformation dance and the dream work, the Jungian dream work, and it just brought the synergy up so real for us. We could feel the connection and something that we needed to do, to share with all of you and with each other. And actually, the person who asked for this tree dance, Tessa Teresa Earthheart, is someone I met a couple years ago when we were both working on our certification in the Talking Circle leadership training. So it's through that group that we come here today. And I know John Raymer's going to talk about synergy, because that's a big reason of why he's here and why we're able to do this and to share it with you in these beautiful ways through Sine Network. We're so grateful for that. And so Molly Tosti is a mom, a gardener, an activist, an artivist, and she's going to share her experience with trees in the urban setting of the city and her campaign for protection of the trees and the rights of the trees and nature. And then she's going to, we're going to ask her husband Gabri, who did the music, to share his experience with listening to the plants and creating the music for this dance. And then we're going to invite anyone else who wants to share experiences to join us. So, Molly, if you've caught your breath and you'd like to come in now and unmute yourself and share your activism experiences and let people know how everybody can help the trees at this point when it's so needed.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Gail, for leading us into this beautiful ceremonial space. So much love and gratitude for you and for your teachings. Oh, my heart is bouncing with joy just listening to you. So grateful to be here in this space. Missing our sister Tessa, sending love. Yeah, so yeah, we met through the really beautiful connection with the through the dream work that Gail held, and I had a dream where I was dreaming that the indigenous people will lead us in a ceremonial space and in a circle, and we're going to be dancing in the middle of the garden. So it feels this is what we're actually doing. The Gail is leading us into the garden. Zoom is our garden at the moment. Virtual garden, the trees, thinking about the trees. We're all connecting to the trees through our heart. So yeah, I always had a connection with the nature, and although my dad always taught me I'm a friend of the nature, and I've always been friend of the nature, I never realized actually that I'm a part of the nature too. And it's only through the campaigning locally with the children, with the community groups, and through different kinds of activism that I came to learn how important trees they are, and that they are part of our community. So there is a lot of land grab, lots of land abuse, lots of soil and water abuse, and trees are really suffering. And I think they're really calling us to come and help them. And so this is why we are here, to raise our voice for those who don't have or don't speak English necessarily, or any human language. That doesn't mean that they do not communicate. Trees are one of the oldest species on the planet, and apparently if they didn't know how to communicate, they wouldn't be able to survive all this time. Just because their language is different than ours, it doesn't mean that they don't have it. So yeah, we have to learn how to listen to the trees with our hearts, and just feel with our hearts how to listen to them. So this is how, I suppose I had a lot of writing, but I'm just talking from my heart in here. Yeah, I've been trying, thinking all different things that I want to say, so much to say, but yeah, I think just we all can connect with our local trees, like find what is your nearest tree, what species of the trees, what is their symbolism, what medicine does it hold. Usually the trees that are growing near us are meant to be near us, and we're meant to connect to them. So I would encourage every person to find out what those trees are. And basically, it came to my understanding, we can't protect something with that we don't know what it is. And in our European Western society, we wasn't necessarily taught how to look for that and learn what trees are living on our streets. And so we need to go back into the garden and back listening to the trees, learning what those trees are, what medicine they bring. We all have the nearest trees. And campaign for them, protect them when you can. There is a beautiful groups out there already who are helping to do these things, such as movement rights or global rights for nature. The movements who are giving the voices to those who don't have any, such as rivers or trees or mountains or lakes. So look out for them, support them, join the groups. Yeah, see what you can do to connect with the trees, because the trees are our medicine, as Gail said, and we need to learn how to get their teachings and how to listen to them better. So with this in my heart, I'm saying thank you and deep love and gratitude to all the plants and all the trees and all the water and all the mountains and all the air. And I want to say thank you and deep love gratitude to everyone, and on all corners, 4 corners of the planet. Thank you, Gail, for holding us into this space and into this beautiful ceremonial space. We really much appreciate your gifts and your sharings. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Molly. And now, Molly's husband, Gabriele Tosti, aka G-delic, is a musician, and he will tell us about his experience of co-creating this music that we've danced to today, and also co-creating music with the plants and the trees, as well as how this composition was created. And perhaps he'll tell us about his upcoming album. Magish, we'll leave that up to him. But Pamela, can you unmute?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me to your beautiful peace and ceremonial I'm really grateful to you for this experience because it's been really wonderful to work with this uh, track. And I've been, you know, I spend a lot of my time with the plants, making music, because you know, this is what I'm doing. You know, music is my life. So you know, I'm a musician, and I spent the last 2 years making music with the plants. That's actually been more than 2 years. And the reason why I started this was because we wanted to engage with the people more, and to experiment, you know, how to um, this bringing this sound to the people, would have moved them to have more emotion towards plants. Because in fact, you know, if you can you hear in the background some, yeah, this this is the peace lily's been making music, you know, since meeting started, and you know, it's just going on and on. So I haven't, you know, all I did is connecting, and this reading the electrical pulse that goes through the plants, and the plants, you know, have a different way of communicate with one another, and you know, with this is transform with this synthesizer here is transforming into sound, is picking up the electrical impulse, and so the plants is playing, and the plants learn how to play. And when I done the track, uh, the backing pack for this tree, I did have the plant playing as well, and I think she really likes it. She must feel the energy. But no, it's so yeah, no, we've been um, you know, interacting with plants, and we've been trying to understand the way they communicate with one another, and how they, you know, the feeling changes to the emotional and the vibration, and the vibration that we have has a lot effect on our surrounding ourselves as well, the plants around us. So yeah, kind of amazing now is really singing. And yeah, so yeah, it's been really nice to work your with this track, and I think that now I have another one that I'm working on. There's it's kind of gonna be ready soon, and yeah, what else? Thank you very much for inviting me, and
Yeah, yeah, you're welcome, Gabri. That's beautiful music the Peace Lily's making, and is that the same Peace Lily that's on Bandcamp that you've recorded? Yeah, Pamela, can you unmute Gabri again?
myself now. Yeah. She's learned how to sing very nicely, especially when feeling relaxed. As I said, you know, it's really nice. Now it's just really floating and a beautiful sound. But you know, many times, you know, when we try to connect with trees, you know, it happens in different occasion when the tree, because in the urban town, you know, in the city, the trees are put for beauty, you know, so they planted trees there and plant the tree. Oh, I don't need this tree here. Let's cut this tree and put it there, you know. And they use the nature, and the people think that, yeah, okay, there's a tree there. Oh, you know what, this tree is a bit annoying over there. Let's get rid of it. Boom. And so a lot of people, they don't have these feelings. They don't have feeling connection with the nature as much as we really should have. And I think the music of the plants really helps this connection. However, in the urban, you know, in the city, the tree are left um, isolated from the other trees, so they don't have this communication as in nature you have in forest. They, they communicate from underneath the ground, so they're warning each other if is some danger for them, or they can warn all the way down the valley. There's can some bacteria or some parasite is going to attack them. But here, no, they're very isolated, and so it's nice to share the love with them. I hug a lots of tree when I go around. I feel like it's very nice to hug trees, especially now when we had this pandemic. With everybody was at home, you couldn't really talk to each other. You have to wear a mask, but the tree, always when I see a tree, I always you hug the tree. And feel that they are alive, and they have a different concept of time. So we tend to rush a lot when we do things. So when we talk, we act. The trees has a very different time concept. So they take much longer to express themselves. Sometimes, you have some plants that makes a very long sounds, very gentle, long sounds. Sometimes they don't speak at all, maybe they're
There's a question in the chat for you, Gabriele. It says, do you do some recordings during storms as well? That's from Paul, I think.
Do you do some recording during the storm as well? Yes. Yeah, yes.
And I'm curious what she sounded like when I was drumming and singing.
Yes, when it was a big storm outside, and I was doing the recording during the storm, and it was all quite connected. There was lots of water going as well. The water has a massive, it's life, and it's nice to see it behind the Mali there. But it's true, for sounds, even for the connector, then I pick the sounds. I usually wet the leaf, and I make sure that everything is wet. Water is a real good for, for connection. So I think even when it's rain, there's a lot of energy.
Yeah, and Paul says a lot of trees fell down there in Holland where he is last week. And Paul, you're welcome to unmute yourself and join the conversation if you'd like. Can you hear them in panic in storms like that? Can you hear the panic in the trees?
Yes. Sorry, because I've seen this unmuted. I'm not so used to this Zoom call. It's my first.
You're doing great. Yeah, Zoom is a challenge.
Yeah. I mean, the first of my own, anyway. I've done it before. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, no, it was a storm going in. Yeah, it was very strong, powerful storm here in UK, and then now it's better, and feels like spring is coming. But we still have a lot. I mean, I think ceremonial, the connection that we have. I mean, we got these amazing things to connect everybody around the world. The internet, that's very special because we can share in this important loving and somehow involving the nature, that we are nature, connection with everything. And the music is, for me, is, I'm a musician, so like I do a lot of, I express myself through music. And I think that moments we need lots of creativity, love, feeling that there is not just all this stuff going on, but there is lots of really positive thing, and we can gather around the sacred tree, like you said before. We got a second.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you, Gabri.
Yeah.
Did you want to say anything about your album that you're about to release, or your?
Oh wow! Thank you. Yeah. Oh, okay. I can mention that. Yeah, it's about to come out. It's ready, really. It just we are just waiting for the CD to arrive. It's called Magish, and it's kind of psychedelic rock. You know, not much rock actually. It's just psychedelic. And it's got lots of nature. Actually, it's got birds and water as well, making sound. It's interesting. You know, it will be available on the Bandcamp to order. If anybody is interested, they can contact me. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a joy working with you and Molly on this piece, and it's amazing. I could just send you a shamanic drumming, and you could put the pieces together. So beautiful.
Pleasure.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we're working on another piece. I want to encourage everybody out there to check back in with us, because we're working on a piece about the storms in life and how they renew the water in us. So that will be probably what we'll present on the 18th through the 22nd of March. We'll have a chance to dance with the storms in life and learn about what it teaches us when we go through things like we're going through right now. So please, continue to check in with us and continue to dance in these ritual ways. This is a practice, and the more we do these ritual dances and things together from all over the world, the more human we become, and the more our soul can connect with the collective soul through our dreams, through our rituals, through our teachings, through all that we share in these beautiful ways. I'm so grateful to everyone here. I'm grateful to Stephen for the beautiful photo that I forgot to give him credit for. That is the headliner for this event, the image that you see on the event page. And I'm grateful to John Raymer for making this possible through Sine Network, and to Becky for meeting us here and getting us started and keeping us going, and to everyone who will join us and share this with their friends. We're so delighted and so amazed that our last dance, when we called in the Eagles to bring endings in 2022 so the earth can renew, we're so delighted to see that we've gotten over 1,000 views on the Facebook Live recording. So we encourage those of you who are viewing this on the recording to please share with your friends and keep dancing. Just keep dancing. And if you would like to dance on just the music without the guidance, that's on SoundCloud. And you can find me on SoundCloud by searching for Singingmist, Singingmist. You can find the song with the guidance, and Molly and I are recording, the dance there so that you can dance with us. And Pamela can put that link in the chat if you'd like that, or you can find me on Facebook if you have any questions. And does anybody have any questions right now before we sign off? Any topics that we haven't covered that anyone would like to get into, or anything that you want to ask any of us? Okay, looks like we're clear. I'm going to speak us out with a poem by John Trudell on this topic. He says, "My relatives, the clouds. One time I was visiting with my relatives, the clouds, the mountains, the sky, the trees. My relatives touched my spirit, nudged it lovingly. Listen to us, impatient one. We are forever. You must remember the gentleness of time. You are struggling to be who you are. You say you want to learn the old ways, struggling to learn when all you must do is remember. Remember the people, remember sky and earth. Remember the people have always struggled to live in harmony and in peace. Struggle against selfishness and weakness so the people may live as nations. The old ways are hard. The people have always had to work together. Remember, impatient one, remember and live. Do not be afraid of truth. Respect discipline. Share your life so the people may live. Honor sky and earth. Honor yourself. Honor your relations. Remember, impatient one, the gentleness of time so the people may live. And again, that's John Trudell in 1982 from Living in Reality. I want to thank you all again for being here in this beautiful way, and I want to close our sacred container of ritual sharing with a song that came in the dream time when we initiated a pipe in 2018 from the Santa Clara Pueblo pipe maker, Great Antelope. You can read about that on my Facebook page, my group page, or on the YouTube with this pipe. It came in the Lakota ceremony language, and it translates as sending a voice to ancestors. With the common people's pipe, with compassion of grandmothers, we want to live. Drum of sacred elk nation, pipe of black-tailed deer, sending our voice on this good day with this common people's pipe. Oh, yeah, Timogashila. Oh, yeah, Timogashila. Oh, yeah, Timogashila. Chashada Janaba, hey, Unchi Malaye, Unchi Malaye, Unchi Malaye, Doni Pigtailo, hey. Chega e haka orate tanupa. Excuse me. Center so play, oh yeah, and bachikile. We chashada chaniba. I'm so grateful when we're able to share our teachings like this and be heard again and be understood. So thank you all. Pamela, if you can end the recording.